God of War Valhalla. I'm not joking when I say it's beautiful. An extremely cathartic therapy session where Kratos relives and processes some of his worst misdeeds and his greatest acts of heroism across the franchise's history as he tries to reconcile the cruel man he was with the hopeful god his late wife Faye envisioned he could become. Looping through a mind palace of his own creation as he works to not forgive or forget but accept his past actions and weigh those mistakes against the good he's done since. Not given a pass, but simply a new perspective, an ocean-deep epilogue directed not just towards Kratos, but to us, the player, who has journeyed with him each step of the way. It's also got some banging gameplay, so that helps. Insane fights, a satisfying narrative that is objectively longer than a COD campaign, great skills reincorporated from the main game, and some new ones I desperately wish get added. So let's take a look, step by step, as we walk through the past with Kratos in order to create the future Faye foresaw. I'm Dennis from That's for the Birds, and this is Therapy.
Tell me, brother, why exactly are we doing this?
I do not know. I will discover who invited me.
Is that what this is? You're sure it's worth dying for?
Oh, I think we're fairly accustomed to dying at this point.
I am not ready.
Oh, there it is. Home sweet home.
When I say this is therapy, I mean it. It's the process of guided reflection and introspection of a man torn between his shame, guilt, and grief, unable to truly move forward without first looking inward. It even takes advantage of a real-world therapeutic method called Gestalt therapy, the empty chair technique, a form of psychotherapy that emphasizes personal responsibility and focuses on the individual's experience in the present, the environmental and social context of a person's life and emotional issues, and the self-regulating adjustments people make as a result of their overall situations. Visualizing portions of yourself to facilitate an awareness of your feelings, stressors, behaviors, and motivations, to prod and poke the pieces of ourselves that we cannot or will not accept in order to better understand them. We open with the truth. Kratos doesn't know why he needs to do this, but he knows he has to try. His uncertainty and determination reflect his ambivalence on what he must become. We approach the black sand beach, lined with Valkyrie statues, unsure if this is a remnant of Asgard broken off and residing in Midgard, or if Valhalla exists outside of space in a way, a refuge of the mind with power over reality. In the myths, the Valkyries would carry fallen warriors to the halls of Valhalla so that they could prepare for Ragnarok. But Ragnarok is over, and now the formerly dead Kratos and the Sword of Dead Mimir take the challenge themselves after a note arrives on their door beckoning them forward. Forcing our way into Valhalla places a burden upon Kratos and quickly leads to our death and sudden reawakening on the shores, where we are greeted by the Shield Maidens and their queen, asking, "How did you get in?" Well, with his bare hands. Now, with their help and the implication of a great question to be decided on, Kratos seeks to understand the why of the process. Like taking a deep dive into his trauma, we start traversing through various combat stages across the 9 realms, recreations of his mind with enemies to match, until we arrive at a familiar throne. His throne. An empty chair, if you will. The seat of power he left behind in the ruins of Greece, along with a familiar disembodied voice. But he is not ready. So it begins. Loop, loop, loop. Try, push, progress, succeed, return, buy it, ease it, break it, until the voice himself shows up. Helios.
Really are going places in Valhalla.
Where's Mimir?
Is that really all you have to say to me? After all this time? can't muster up so much as hello for one of your most auspicious victims?
Hello, Helios. Where is Mimir?
I love this so much. This was the first real moment for me that said, they're not letting Kratos go into that peaceful beyond without a true reckoning of himself. Helios was a god and a general piece of shit like the rest of them, but he was also explicitly one of the few gods who saved Kratos' life directly when he aided him in restoring the sun. But he thought of nothing but revenge in that moment, and Helios was simply a tool to be used in that process. It's nice to see him occupy the current head's spot in a decidedly more bitter tone, but hey, he's got valid reasons to complain. Each step of Valhalla brings us closer to the three kings of judgment and the promise of Mount Olympus looming high in the distance. Before we can arrive, though, the Blade of Olympus. Holy shit. What a reveal. The slow introduction of Greek elements ramping up as we fight familiar enemies that aren't simple reskins, each enemy adding their own flavor to a Norse template that brings back classic attacks from the past. The blade itself is incredible. Really cheap to use, so you can come in and out of rage mode quickly. It can parry red attacks, it can parry yellow attacks, and after you parry, you can do a charge R2, which will heal you. Any charge attack heals you. It's just so good. It's amazing. So as Kratos goes through the motions, he makes familiar mistakes, attempting to sacrifice the annoying memory of his actions in the flames, only to have Mimir reappear in his place. A friend, a brother, an unwilling and unwanted sacrifice. So he breaks the rules of this reality and almost pays a permanent price. If not for Sigrun, the sacrifice that she makes saving her love Mimir and her general Kratos, and paying that price for him, who knows what would have occurred. Upon return, Kratos begins to understand the nature of the challenge, if not its form. Instead of another unjustified sacrifice of Helios, he puts himself in the box.
You know what? Never mind. I'd like to see this.
Through this process, he has finally ascended to the peak of Mount Olympus. Beginning to process what really lies in his mind, he sees the source of these events, the messenger of his challenge of self-reflection. His new therapist, Tyr. Tyr, a figure no doubt still connected to the actions of Odin in many minds, is here to make up for his absence. He knows what the realm and Freya ask of Kratos, to lead, to commit, but also that he's unwilling to accept that path without accepting himself. So what's a better test than these hands, baby? Tyr is a fight, and such a good one. Varied, dynamic, with lots of windows and tells that allow you to react, and really awesome mid-fight grabs that create quick-time events that are reminiscent of the past, another layer that adds to that feeling. I will never get tired of this shot as well. I just pretend it's Odin in this moment, I swear to gods. It's such a neat gimmick that he has for his fights as well, each return showing off a new weapon from a distant land he's visited over the years, sparking speculation about the possibilities of the future. With Tyr revealed, we step through the doors behind him, but the final challenge of Valhalla is too much and Kratos is still not ready. He rejects what he sees. Back through the cycle, we are made to address his various unjustified actions as he seeks to accept them and not discard them, but weigh them against the good he's done. We also get some healthy shit from Helios through the process.
Truly entertaining stuff. Sorry to miss how it ended up. I think maybe you still have some ash on your skin. Am I crazy? I guess irony can have you when it earns you something.
But there is a reflection beyond the surface level of his mind's pond, beyond what he speaks aloud. I am, once again, obsessed with Kratos' diary, where he openly pens his entries directly to Atreus. He speaks of missing him, of appreciating his friends, of the challenges and struggles he's faced, that which he's opened up about, and that which he's withheld. It's all here in stunning honesty from a man who seldom speaks his mind's true thoughts. And what? Are we to decipher his meaning from grunting? I think now's a good time to talk about the gameplay itself, though. The roguelike genre is one of my favorites, and God of War is my favorite series, so this truly feels like it was made for me specifically. And while this is no Hades, which dedicates itself to that genre fully, it does do what the best roguelikes in the business do, which is create value in death. Stories to hear from the Valkyries, new armors and levels to unlock new ways to extend your run. Making death an integral and not devastating part of runs is an essential aspect of fostering the belief that every step has its purpose. Each death brings us closer to both understanding and progress. The game smartly strips away all of our amulets, armor sets, and abilities short of the skill tree itself, allowing each run to feel unique. Returning relics, abilities, weapon skills, and runic attacks are all welcome, but it's the addition of new ones which really elevate the gameplay experience. Not to mention, by focusing on one weapon, you'll also get smart gameplay mechanics through the process of higher tiered rewards. It will offer you rewards based on what you pulled. More axe weapons, more axe abilities means better axe abilities, and more axe focused abilities which enhance that path even further. With enough focus on it, you'll even get a journey through that specific realm for that weapon, Niflheim in that case, which allows you a one-time damage boost that you can buy. You can't choose it again after, so keep 220 echoes on hand for that. Every weapon comes with an eventual devastating build. I'll talk about my favorite here, just for an example. The Pride of the Frost build. Over the course of my first game clearing run, I got an incredible sequence of charms. Damage boost on combo finishers, buff based on luck when using combo finishers, Axe Autofrost awakens on combo finishers, and Pride of the Frost boosted damage on combo finishers. Defense and stagger resist on Frost Awaken and increased damage in Frost Awaken skills. So by the end, I was near unstaggerable as I popped off triple damage boosted combo finishers that gave me Frost Awaken every time. I felt like, well, a God of War. And that was just one build. There's cooldown spammable runic attack builds for the Blades of Chaos, there's multi-element exploding ammo hacks for the spear, and there's even realm shift shenanigans you can do with Rage Awakening with the Legacy Blade that is really easy to come in and out of, so popping a Rage will pop a realm shift, giving you the ability to combine well-timed dodges, rage uses to time lock enemies until they're dusted. This is truly a gameplay experience that stands on its own and not simply shoved in as a mode of play. It deserves the praise it's received. Valhalla has recreated a fragmented Greece from Kratos' memory, and with all the work put into this area, the characters, the enemies, a remake feels like a real possibility at this point. I would love a remake with a hybrid camera style, modern over-the-shoulder for combat, and a sweeping cinematic pullback for puzzles and to show the scale of boss fights, something that the Star Wars Jedi games and recently Final Fantasy XVI does exceptionally well, blending the intimacy of a close user-controlled camera with the bombastic scale of a fixed one. Each of the levels we approach take another memory from his life, makes him carry that weight and be judged for it, but that judgment comes from within. It's his own mind keeping him weighed down, chained to the past. In some paths, he even recreates the bosses he's faced, giving respect to the sons of Thor in a true fight between them, untainted by the reality of them being tossed to the Spartan to die. Now, while there is conversation on many portions, one that is conspicuously absent is one I imagine they were unwilling to even touch again. The death of the Poseidon sex slave that Kratos used like a doorstop for no good fucking reason. A truly heinous and senseless crime to a fellow slave of the gods. A girl objectively younger than Pandora, a girl no more than a decade older than his dead daughter. If Kratos is able to identify and care for Pandora, why not this woman? There are reasonable complaints to be levied at the way that women are handled in this series, and while the boat captain is addressed, many will say their crimes are of a similar tier of violence, senseless human reaction. There is just an unavoidable step further in relation to this woman. It's just tits and gore, representing the worst of the edginess that became such a staple of this era of games. That isn't to say that he lets himself off the hook, though. No, instead, it's up to his therapist and his friend to push him to understand the context of his actions. He's harder on himself than anyone.
What would have happened if you didn't stop it?
Our lands would have been overrun. Our people killed, violated.
People your army was sworn to protect. An army led by you. Did you not feel a duty to fulfill your purpose? Did you not fear for the safety of your homeland? You saved them.
You would excuse my actions.
Excusing them is not the exercise, Kratos. Only accepting them.
Yes, he pledged himself to Ares, but had he not, the barbarian horde would have devastated his land and his people. Yes, he killed the sun from the sky, but only his original self-sacrifice left it there to be removed. You are not absolved of the bad you've done, but you are more than the wrongs. You're an amalgamation of your past, your present, your future. Your actions and choices all coalesce into the you of today. So when we beat Tyr for the final time, Kratos finds the strength of mind to look through the door, to walk through and face the final act. I love how effortlessly he steps through the threshold on his final attempt. He is prepared for that final challenge. Himself. It's been easy for him and for so many fans of the OG games to pretend that this Kratos is a different man, divorced from his personality and purpose in such a stark way that he's a different character entirely. But that was never true. They're the same. They are each other. The Kratos of the future was always within the Kratos of the past. While there is cruelty, there is also hope, and hope is what remains when all else is lost. What we see here is a stunning monologue of the traditional Grecian flavor, a man seeking to challenge himself, chastise himself, accept himself, redeem himself. He speaks of his actions in the third person, you are, you were, until he comes to the wall of it, the barrier he must break through. We are, we were, we lost everything, and we chose to tear everything down. And while that may have been his nature, what will he do now? Will he lead, serve, yield? Will he be a god of fools, of war? That was his form for so long, his nature. But like the Blades of Chaos, like the god of war, he is not limited by what he was.
But you are more than that. You have always been more than what others saw. You are more than that.
It's beautiful, powerful, a true reckoning of the self, and it's only in that reflection that he sees the path forward, the path Faye envisioned for him, a god of hope, hope for all realms and all the people within them. As he walks out, his visage once again fulfills a prophecy that doesn't hold him. He doesn't believe in prophecy. He makes his own path. The choice to become what the people need, not because it's written, but because it's right. He chooses to live, to serve, to lead, to open his heart to the world, and to hope for it with every part of his being. That's what I call growth. Eat shit, David Jaffe. I am so glad he's not in control anymore, because there is a level of self-awareness here unmatched in the early series. Heights previously thought impossible, depth previously unimaginable, self-actualization through deep introspection and putting in the work. Kratos was never shallow and one note, but he was consumed by a singular vision, an energy which meant that his character depth was less apparent and in some ways less meaningful. Through this journey, through his personal growth, we are allowed to see and experience the intense range of pathos at offer, the gravity of his actions, and the truth that he is finally ready. Thanks for watching. The music is insane, as usual. Awesome to hear Greek music. The OST bangs. I love seeing Sigrun and Mimir come to a real understanding of each other. That's an easy ship, 10 out of 10. Fuck this attack by the Minotaur, fuck this attack by the Centaur, and every one of these harpy assholes. I want a God of War Loki Morales game so I can experience the exaggerated swagger of a Jotun teen. See you next time. Join my Patreon. I'm back on my bullshit, and it's beautiful. Say hi to my dogs.